Frankenfish by K. Babineau. All his life he had only one little wish. It was a wish to be loved and to live in a dish. Well, maybe not a dish, more like a little bowl. Live in a bowl and be loved. Live in a bowl and grow old. But this poor Frankenfish was different than most. He had once been dead. He had once been a ghost. Some fish come from a river or they come from the sea, but this Frankenfish came from a laboratory. With test tubes and beakers that made bubbles and steam, a fish kit was purchased from a Mad Science magazine. Everything that you needed came in this little fishy kit, all the little fishy pieces, all the little fishy bits. An eye stalk, a brain, head, body, fins, a tail, jaws with pointy teeth, and a can of fishy scales. And just who was this little boy or girl who bought this little kit and gave creating life a whirl? Why, it was the son of none other than the monster Frankenstein. It was little Frankie Jr. who had a pet on his mind. Frankie had been begging for a pet for quite some time. He would love and take care of a pet of any kind. He would gladly take a bird, a dog, or a cat. He'd even take an alligator or something big like that. He promised his mom that he would do all the work, and because he didn't cry or pretend to go berserk, his mom said, "All right, we will give this a try, but pick something small, something that can live inside." That is when he remembered an ad that he'd seen, an ad in his favorite Mad Science magazine, an ad that made a promise that anybody could make a pet from scratch. Not only could, but should. It is just so eco-friendly to build your own recycled pet. It is money-saving too, as it will end up costing less than buying from a store a pet that's all brand new. You can love it just as much, and it will love you right back too. So he saved up his allowance, the dollars, nickels, and the dimes. He sent away for that kit, waiting a very long time. He waited such a long time for that kit to arrive that when it finally did, he snatched it up and ran inside. He opened up the package and dumped out all the bits. He grabbed up the instructions to his little fishy kit. At last the day was here when he could finally make his new best fishy friend from this Mad Science shake and bake. He put his lab coat on and rolled up both the sleeves. He adjusted his glasses and then began to read. Put the brain, part A, into the head, part B. Now stitch that to the body. That's the part that's labeled C. The rest is kind of easy. The rest is kind of fun. You attach the rest of your fish with your fishy rivet gun. We give you our guarantee that you will have in the end have the bestest fishy time with your new best fishy friend. Because a pet that you make is the very, very best. A pet that you make is better than the rest. You'll have everything you need for your fish to be born. Everything that is except a big old lightning storm. Because for fishy to exist and be alive like you and me, you must also harness all the power of electricity. So up the stairs you go, flip on all the lights and switches, put all the rivets in their places and tighten all the stitches. Get this little guy together. Don't use too much time to think, or it gets soft and kind of gooey, and the whole thing starts to stink. So up the stairs he ran, pushing all the buttons and the knobs. The lights began to flash, and his head began to throb. He tried to keep his thoughts together. He had just no time to lose. There was so much going on. There was just so much to do. He read not once but twice all the instructions in the kit, and finally finished attaching all the little fishy bits. He strapped the fishy down, attached a wire to its side, then he opened up the roof. This fishy's going for a ride. He turned the handle on the table, and it slowly began to rise. The table rose up through the roof. The table rose way up high. The storm was almost here. The wind was blowing very fast. He would finally get his pet, get his fishy pet at last. Thunder ripped through the air, with lightning filling up the sky. One tremendous bolt struck true, and he shouted, "It's alive!" The fishy's heart began to beat, and now it would quickly need to be in a fishy bowl so it could start to fishy breathe. He quickly lowered the table back into its place. He looked desperately at his fish, at his little fishy's face. Was it alive or dead? He just couldn't tell, but didn't want to wait around for it to start to fishy smell. So he put his fish in a bowl and swished the bowl around. He swished it so very, very hard, he almost dropped it to the ground. Beads of sweat formed on his brow. He was breathing very fast. Would his little fishy live? Would he get his pet at last? Then he noticed something moving, and the moving it got quicker. The fishy moved its little fins. Its eyelid began to flicker. Next, a great big fishy smile formed on its little fishy face, a smile so very bright and shiny it lit up the whole darn fishy place. Now this little Frankenfish is part of a great big family, and when everyone sits around at night watching TV, from his little bowl of water he watches with the rest of his Franken family, feeling very Franken blessed. You can purchase Frankenfish on Amazon.com.